As one of the largest electronics manufacturers globally, Foxconn has played a crucial role in the global supply chain. However, in recent years, it has encountered significant challenges in maintaining its dominant position within the Chinese market. Foxconn's once strong foothold has been weakened, leading to a shift in its standing within the industry. With the emergence of Chinese manufacturers and Apple's changing stance towards Chinese suppliers, Foxconn has faced significant challenges in re-entering the Chinese market. Before we get started, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Thank you. The story of Foxconn's development dates back to the 1980s, when it started out as a small Taiwanese electronics manufacturer. In 1991, Foxconn entered the mainland Chinese market, attracted by low labor costs and a large consumer base. With the rapid development of the Chinese economy, Foxconn capitalized on the tremendous opportunities and growth potential offered by the mainland. China has become the cradle of Foxconn's expansion, providing many orders and a huge labor force. With efficient production management and a robust supply chain, Foxconn became the world's largest electronics manufacturer and built a strong reputation. However, over time, Foxconn faced a number of internal problems in the management and treatment of employees. These problems led to decreased employee motivation and an unstable labor supply. In addition, statements made by the company's founder Terry Gou caused controversy and significantly damaged Foxconn's reputation. Faced with these problems, Foxconn thought about leaving China and looking for another production base. However, it soon became clear that no other place in China could offer a mature supply chain and manufacturing environment, making the exit plan highly problematic. Shifting its focus to India, Foxconn began looking for new opportunities in this vast market. However, Apple's decision to move some of its manufacturing facilities to India has put a lot of pressure on Foxconn to set up manufacturing facilities in the country. In addition, India's stance towards foreign companies remained unpredictable, with laws, regulations, and political uncertainty changing frequently, adding to Foxconn's problems in India. Despite the huge potential of the Indian market, it did not have such a developed and complex supply chain and manufacturing environment as in China, which became a serious obstacle for Foxconn. At the same time, Chinese original equipment manufacturers OEMs were growing rapidly and competing directly with Foxconn. These Chinese manufacturers attracted customers with low labor costs and a relatively mature manufacturing environment. At the same time, Apple began using more local Chinese OEMs and changed its attitude toward Chinese suppliers. As a result of these factors, it has become extremely difficult for Foxconn to regain its position in the Chinese market, where it no longer holds its former dominant position in the face of fierce competition for market share from Chinese OEMs. Foxconn had previously considered moving assets worth $300 billion in India and other countries. However, the company faced serious problems in overseas factories such as India and Vietnam. Indian workers showed relatively low skills, resulting in lower output compared to Chinese factories. In addition, Indian workers were generally unwilling to work overtime, which delayed many rush orders. Foxconn's factories in Vietnam also faced difficulties, including inadequate infrastructure unable to meet demand, leading to production line shutdowns. Compared to India, China has higher skill levels, better work attitudes, relatively lower labor costs, and higher labor productivity. These advantages have played a crucial role in attracting foreign investment and enhancing the competitiveness of the Chinese manufacturing sector. Realizing the urgency of the situation, Foxconn began hiring staff and restarting production lines in its Chinese factories. However, political support from China has waned. China is Apple's second largest market, and the majority of iPhones are made in the country, and Foxconn's Zhengzhou plant produces more than half of all iPhones in the world. Apple's decision to manufacture a significant number of iPhones in China is primarily due to China's comprehensive industrial system and supply chain. As the U.S. continues to renegotiate chip manufacturing rules and limit the supply of companies like Qualcomm, Intel, and TSMC, accelerating the process of disengaging from the Chinese market, Apple and other manufacturers have begun to move their production chains. Apple began a presence in India a few years ago by moving some of its production lines there, and Foxconn and other manufacturers have followed suit by building factories in India. Apple has also been assisting numerous supply chains to obtain relevant skills in India. Foxconn and Apple see India as a critical manufacturing base, accelerating the construction of factories to produce more iPhones and other devices in the country. Apple is confidently passing on orders to Indian manufacturers and is very optimistic about the region's growth potential. However, the Indian manufacturing sector has not turned out to be as developed as expected. Wistron, one of Apple's key manufacturers, has opened factories in India, but the working conditions have not lived up to expectations. Wistron's Indian factory, which had been in operation for 6 to 7 years, generated profits of only 3–4% of total revenue, which disappointed Wistron. In addition, the Indian manufacturing sector faced problems such as labor disputes and tarnished company image, which forced Wistron to sell the factory to Tata Group. Foxconn, being one of Apple's major partners, receives a significant number of orders from Apple every year. Due to this, Apple forced Foxconn to open a plant in India. However, after Wistron's withdrawal from the Indian market, there were concerns about Foxconn's operations in India. Like Wistron, Foxconn faces challenges due to the business environment in India. India does not provide a truly open environment for foreign companies, often struggling to maintain profits as the company grows. In addition, inadequate infrastructure, inefficient logistics, low-quality labor, and the lack of reasonable laws and regulations further complicate Foxconn's situation. Although Foxconn is not currently pulling out of India, achieving success in India remains a challenge. Foxconn and other companies face numerous challenges at their Indian plants. The relatively low skill level of Indian workers has resulted in significantly lower yields than Chinese factories. In addition, Indian workers are generally unwilling to work overtime, which has delayed many urgent orders. Foxconn's factories in Vietnam also face problems, including inadequate infrastructure to meet demand, leading to production line shutdowns. The experience of Apple and Foxconn raises questions about the future of the Indian market. Although India has significant potential as an emerging market, the business environment remains challenging. To attract foreign investment, the Indian government should focus on strengthening infrastructure, regulatory reforms, and improving the quality of the labor force. At the same time, foreign companies should recognize the challenges of operating in India and take appropriate risk mitigation measures. Meanwhile, Chinese OEMs directly competing with Foxconn continue to grow rapidly in the Chinese market. These Chinese OEMs are attracting customers with low labor costs and relatively mature manufacturing environments. In addition, Apple's increased reliance on local Chinese OEMs and its changing attitudes toward Chinese suppliers create a strong incentive for Foxconn to return to the Chinese market, where its position is no longer as strong as it once was in the face of intense competition and competition for market share with Chinese OEMs. Thus, Foxconn's exit from China will have a significant impact on the Chinese economy and the global supply chain. If Foxconn wants to regain its position in the Chinese market, it will face fierce competition and struggle for market share as its dominant position is weakened. What do you think about it? Write your opinion in the comments.